Good day to you, one and all. It is I, Justin Hawkins, and this is Justin Hawkins Rides Again. Today I'm talking about a subject that's oh so close to my heart. I won't just be doing one episode on this person, because there's too many things to say. So I'm going to be talking about Jeff Buckley. By popular demand, a lot of people have been asking me about him, and to offer an opinion and, I don't know, just talk about him, I guess. Oh, that's lovely. Coffee. Yeah, I like coffee. This particular song I'm going to focus on today is Lilac Wine. It was written by James Shelton in 1950, and the song has since been recorded by many artists. It was made famous originally by Eartha Kitt in 1953. Nina Simone went on to cover it in 1966, and then Jeff Buckley recorded it as part of his 1994 album Grace. So Jeff Buckley possessed a tenor vocal range that spanned about 4 octaves. It's kind of prodigious, really. He mainly played a 1983 Fender Telecaster and a Rickenbacker 360 12-string, but he also used several other guitars, including a black Gibson Les Paul Custom. I love those. They call them the Black Beauties. Brilliant. And a 1967 Guild F50 acoustic. Not so familiar with the Guild stuff. Anyway, after a decade as a session guitarist in Los Angeles, he amassed a following in the early 90s by playing songs written by others at venues in Manhattan's East Village. He eventually signed with Columbia, recruited a band and recorded what would be his only studio album, Grace. I know there's another thing afterwards, which is Sketches for My Sweetheart, the Drunk, but I think was released posthumously. But there's some really great songs on there that seem unfinished. I think there's stuff where the lyrics are repeating over the 2 verses and whatever. Anyway, since his death, there have been many posthumous releases of his material, and his chart success also came posthumously. His cover of Leonard Cohen's song Hallelujah was the one that he got his first #1 with in 2008. God, that's really late, isn't it? Anyway, Jeff Buckley has influenced the sound of many artists over the years. There's a really good anecdote regarding Radiohead. They always say that because there's sort of the Radiohead album that I really love is The Bends. I think I might have done a top to bottom bangers on that at one point. But there's a song on there called Fake Plastic Trees, and that was, I think Tom York was trying to sing that song, and then he saw Jeff Buckley playing at the Garage, which is a brilliant little venue on Holloway Road, just near Highbury in London. And apparently after seeing Jeff Buckley, he was inspired to sort of reapproach his vocal style, and he sang Fake Plastic Trees in falsetto, and then he just sat there and cried a little bit. Have I done the theme tune yet? I'm not sure. Justin Hawkins rides again. So that Radiohead story, apparently Colin Greenwood said it was going really slowly, so John Leckie said, why don't we go out? And then they went to see Jeff Buckley play at the Garage. He had a Telecaster and a pint of Guinness. That was everything that was on the stage, apparently. And it was just amazing, really inspirational. Then we went back to the studio and tried an acoustic version of Fake Plastic Trees. Tom sat down, played it in 3 takes, and then just burst into tears afterwards. And that's what we used for the record. And Tom York said that Buckley's performance gave him the confidence to sing falsetto. So he changed the course of Radiohead's history just by being brilliant one night in the Garage. And you know my feelings on Radiohead. I adore them. There used to be a really brilliant recording of a gig in Paris, I think, which is mostly just Jeff Buckley with a Telecaster. He makes a brilliant sound just for one bloke with a guitar. Cause I knew I'd leave my mother. And rather than sort of falling into the usual singer-songwriter trope of having an acoustic guitar, he's doing it on electric, and it just sounds brilliant. It's really beautiful. It's sweet and heady, like my love. Where is the breaking point in Jeff Buckley's voice? Do we know? Like most people, they sort of sing in full voice until they get to around about here somewhere, and then they sort of break off into the head voice, It's, I think the best singers, it's hard to sort of determine where the sort of head belt starts and the chest voice stops. I think it was especially difficult with Jeff Buckley because when he's singing, even in sort of like mid-range, he's got such control that he's able to sing in a way that's sort of audibly quite quiet. And then when he switches into the head voice, you don't notice any sort of difference in timbre or even volume, and it's just like seamlessly transitions into using different parts of his body to resonate. He's kind of an amazing singer. Well, he's definitely an amazing singer. He's one of those, I don't know, anatomical anomalies. And as I've always said, it's all about anatomy. He was blessed with basically a body that is a singing machine. Lilac Wine. Because that still sounds like chest voice to me. Like my love. I mean, that's so high. Love. For full voice. I mean, I can get up to about here. But it doesn't sound like that. It's like a real struggle. Listen to me, I cannot see clearly. See that clearly? It's definitely head voice there. Isn't that she? But that's mid. Coming to me near. But it's so consistent. Whichever part of his range that he's using, it's really like never sort of breaks from the emotional. What's the word? It never sort of breaks character, you know, whatever he's trying to achieve in the song emotionally. He's really consistent across his whole range, and for 4 octaves of that kind of singing, it's pretty amazing. And he's surrounded by musicians who are just keeping out of his way, really. They're providing accompaniment, but they're certainly not sort of jostling for position sonically. See, I get loud when I try and do that. And here, he's using the sort of dynamics of a louder singing style to achieve something. We already know that he doesn't need to increase his volume to hit those notes. Unsteady, where's my love? And he's really embodying the unsteady nature of the lyricist. You know, this sort of it's quite interesting how he syncopates the vocal to the rhythm of the guitar. You know, he's stumbling around it, but he's keeping it down with his right hand, which is kind of, that's challenging as well, I think. Crazy. Isn't that a voice to fall in love with? Oh my God, it's amazing. I wish he was still alive. That's what I wish. I feel unready. Back in 1997, I remember we were looking for a singer. Our search took about 2 years before basically I agreed to do it. But I think it seemed at the time that I would say 90% of the people that we auditioned were heavily influenced by Jeff Buckley, and in fact really wanted to be Jeff Buckley. I remember seeing something, I read something about Muse observed that in some other artist that was around at the time, and they were criticising them for basically just copying Jeff Buckley. And I was thinking, hang on, is that the pot calling the kettle black? People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones and all that sort of thing. He influenced basically everybody in the mid and late 90s, and probably beyond that as well. I'd say it's one of those voices that changed everything for a lot of people, because it shows a totally different approach to the male vocal. It's vulnerable, it's accomplished, it's consistent, and it's just so fragile and beautiful, and you know, it's definitely capable of perfection, but it's sort of rough around the edges in exactly the right way. It's really beautiful. Unsurpassed, I would say. Probably one of the greatest singers there's ever been. Free. good way to achieve that change in timbre that is done there is to move your Adam's apple down, and it changes the size of what would, if this was a piano, then the soundboard would be the thing at the back. And when you move your Adam's apple down, you notice a difference in tonality that's that he's using there to go just like that. You can really hear the difference. And if you're standing in a room with somebody who does that, it's much more powerful. And actually, it's quite effortless to do it. It sounds like it's louder, but it's not. It's just the tone of it's fuller, because more of your bit at the back, the chamber at the back is being incorporated as it sort of resonates, and then you project the sound forwards. A lot of opera singers do that throughout their performance. Woo! Listen to the difference. See that? And then it's fuller, isn't it? Everything in the room resonates, vibrates, and glass breaks. Kind of a lot of people end up sort of sounding like they're yodeling if they try and run like that, because you're going from the head to chest. And I did hear a little bit of a difference in the transition there, but a lot of people use that as an affectation. And then goes yodely like that sometimes. Much less so with Jeff Buckley. He's probably made a transition like that 1 million times, even at this point in his young life. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Oh my God. Okay, so listen to Jeff Buckley because he's fucking amazing. Justin Hawkins rides again. Again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, watch one of these 2 videos, and don't worry, I'll be talking about Jeff Buckley on many more occasions, because there is, as I said before, too many things to say in one episode. Lots of love to you all. Look after yourselves and each other. Oh, that's Jerry Springer. All right, nice one.